So we were doing the calculated fields. Now let's start on that, continue. Yesterday, we saw different types that we tried, right? We did arithmetic calculation. Do you want to see that, how it looks? Let me see, CF. So in arithmetic calculation, you specify the field. Say, for example, here you want, I think there will be some rate, or what is that, salary, right? Salary plan amount, and you want to multiply it. So you choose an operation, multiply, and then multiply it with what field? Any other thing, probably the rate. There might be a rate here, benefit annual rate, and then you can do whatever thing you want based on your calculation. So that if once you use it in your report, it will do that. Now, another one thumb rule that you have to remember is don't add unnecessary calculated fields to your report. Why? What could be the reason? It will make your report execute little slow. Okay, so right now, if you see, if we have used all the Workday delivered fields and we run the report, it will be faster as compared to the report which has calculated field. Because what happens is when you run the report, at the runtime, Workday calculate those fields. It execute the functions that you have used inside that. Say if it is substring or concatenation, calculation, or anything that happens at that runtime. So the more number of fields you will have, it will take a little longer then. So performance wise, only if needed, then only use calculated fields. Okay, now we will see few of the most commonly used calculated fields, which is first is this true false. So there is a calculated field type true false condition. A simple one, but it is the most frequently used one. I'm using it on worker, and you will be creating this calculated field infinite times if you're part of integration scheme and all that, right? So this is a true false condition. What it does is you will just put a condition and it will execute and give you whether it's true or false. So if it's true, it will give you Y, and if it is false, it will give you blank, right? So what kind of condition? Say this is our report, right? Now worker status. I want to check whether the worker status is retired, right? So what I do is, it's nothing but in your report you have used filter, similar kind of stuff. It is exactly the same way. So you put the field worker status, and then equal to comparison type is retired. Click on OK. Now this is our field. I will copy this. How to test? You edit the report and add it. So let me add it next to worker status. And let's run. Yep. So if you see this one, worker status is retired, hence it is showing yes. For others, it is showing blank, right? Now, if I have to change it, I can just put, instead of this one here, calculated field edit, Now say my requirement is I just want to check the terminated one. So I will put terminated here. Okay. And then let me run this report again. Now the retired one will be blank. All others should be yes. Right. So this is a very important. You can put any field here. You can do any kind of. So what will happen is whatever you put here, this field will just execute this. If it gets the output, it gives you Y. If meaning the statement is true, it gives you yes, else blank. Clear about this? This is also called as a Boolean calculated field, right? Because Boolean will give you only true, false. So true, false, or a Boolean. Right? Very common calculated field which you will be creating. Okay, now comes another important one which you will be creating again a lot. It is called evaluate type. Business object worker, and then function is evaluate expression. Right now, evaluate expression you will use inside this. You will have to use multiple true false calculated fields. So what evaluate does, as I told you briefly when we started on this, evaluate expression calculated field is nothing but it's like if and else, right? So what you do is you choose first the field type, whether are you evaluating any date kind of field, or let me give you an example and then you will be able to relate to it. So my requirement is that if the termination date is less than, or if the employee is terminated before 2015, it should give me old, meaning the column name, column value should be old. If it is greater than, meaning the employee is terminated after 2015, then it should say new, right? Got the requirement? If the employee terminated before 2015, the column should give me old. And if the termination date is greater than 2015, it should give me new, right? Now, so for this, if you remember, like we did here test, right? It is giving test for all. But here the requirement is we need, for some it will be old, for some it will be new. Now, the first thing you have to do is, first, there is no such field in Workday which will give you a value of new or old, right? So what you have to do is first create a constant, right? Two constant fields, which is CF test new, and let me put it as worker, and function is true false, not true false, text constant. Click on OK, and I put it as new. Okay, and then I'll say create another one, CF test old worker, and this one is text constant. Click on OK, and old. Okay, so now we have two text constant created. Now what we have to do is, there is this condition, right? Create another calculated field, CF underscore test term date, termination date, worker, and then function is true false, right? So now we have to check termination date, let's say greater than or equal to 0101 2015. And okay, so if this is executed, it will give us yes, right? Now let's go to our main evaluate field. Now here, first thing, what we have to check is CF test term. Okay? So this one we just created. What it will do is it will execute and check if the date is greater than 2015. If yes, it will give you if a value as yes. So now this evaluate will evaluate this true false. If it is true, right, let me give here as text. Now, if it is true, it is saying return value if the condition is true. What do you want to return? So I want to return CF test underscore new, right? And then I have a default value, meaning if say this condition is not true, then by default, what will be the value? The value should be CF underscore test old, right? And say if you have another condition, you put it here. Like say, for example, I have to put if the employee is hired in 2014, the output should be 2014 higher. If the value is 2015, you put 2015 higher. If it is 2016, 2016 higher. So you will have multiple conditions here, and then corresponding to that, you will have the value. And in the end, you have to give a default value that if no condition, if say you have given 10 conditions and all are false, nothing evaluates to true, then what should happen? You should have to give the default value. Okay. Any confusion? Now I will just put it here, and then once you see, I think it will clarify your doubt. If not, then let me know. We can have a quick summary again. Right. So where is the termination date? And let me put it here. Okay, and run. So this date is before 2015. So it is giving us old. And then, oh, this one. So this is after 2015, 1/1/2015, hence it is giving us new. So that's how an evaluate expression works. Okay, just to summarize again. So for creating an evaluate type calculated field, you need to know two things. What is the condition and what is the value, right? So if the value is Workday delivered field, then you put that value there, right? And if it is not, then if it's a hard coded text value, you create your constant text constant, right? Using that type of calculated field. And then you have to create a true false condition, and you can have multiple of these. So each of your condition will be a true false calculated field type, and corresponding to that, what will be the value that you need to know. So if you can write it down on a paper, something like if else, okay, if condition is this, value will be this. Second, if condition is this, value will be this. And if everything fails, what is the default value, right? Once you have that thing written down, you can start creating your child calculated fields, which is all the values that you have to return and all the conditions that you have to test. So now this is evaluate expression field will cover your true false and your constant fields as well, right? So it's a mix, a combination of different calculated fields. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Now let's see another one. Another common one is so we have seen true text constant, this one, substring. Now comes lookup related value. Okay. So if you see here, let me give you an example. So suppose we have this company reference ID, right? I told you that we can use related business object here. The primary business object is worker. On the worker business object, you have the reference ID. But if I want the reference ID of the related business object, like saying in this example, company, right? I have to use that and then use the reference ID. But then if you remember, if I have to do a filtering here, right? I cannot use this field. Yep. Reason? Who can tell me the reason? In filter, I cannot use this field. It is that concept of filter and subfilter. Right? In filter, we can use only the fields which is part of the primary business object, which is worker. And if you want to do a filtering based on the field which is of a related business object, for that you have to use subfilter. Right? But say you have got a requirement that you need a field, you need to do a filtering on a field which is part of the related business object. Or say in any integration, we have to use a field, but there is a specific restriction there that you can only use the field which is on worker business object. But on that, say if you want to use to get the reference ID of company or say any field of different related business object, for that we have this field, lookup related value. What it does is it brings the field which is on related business object, it brings it on the main business object. And how it is, so what is the lookup field? Company, right? So for company, the related business object is company, and then it is saying, what do you want to return? I want to return the reference ID. So now what it is doing here is, the main object is worker. It is saying, look up for this field, company, on the worker business object, right? And for this company, you get me the reference ID from the related business object. So now if I click on OK and then copy this and put it here, and run. Let me scroll to the right. So if you see here now, this one CF test 7, which was our related business object, that calculated field, it is also giving the ID. And then this one also is the ID is the same. So now what benefit we have is we can do the filtering, the primary filtering on this field because it's on the worker business object. So that's the use of it. Lookup related value field is also a very commonly used calculated field, and it is used to bring a field which is on the related business object onto the main business object. And the way you create it is you choose the type as lookup related value, give the field name, right? Like I can give cost center here, dependents here, whatever. And then this related business object automatically gets populated. I have to just then choose what value I want to bring in on the main business object. And that's how it works. Clear on this? Let me go back and choose all. One more thing. So if you see here, and it's not related to the topic, but related to Workday in general as well, right? You see these check boxes, right? Say I have to select all the check boxes, right? Then it becomes difficult. I have to do all, right? So the shortcut for that is do a Control A and press spacebar.
Oh,
It will unselect, and then if you put spacebar, it will select all.
okay. It's like a text. Okay.
Right. And then click on OK. So now it will give me reports, all the reports, which are Workday standard. Right. So these are all Expresso report writer, and there are so many pages here. Error processing. Yep. So this is the place, Vikram, where you can go and then see those reports. Right now, probably because of security and the huge volume, might not come up. But yes, you can copy these reports, not the Expresso reports, but the report writer one.
Okay. I mean, can we select the type and type also? Like, can you filter?
Yep, you can just, what you can do is first, so here you see in Workday, whenever you run any kind of task and it gives you this kind of data, right, a table, you have these symbols at the top,
Oh, okay.
right? So if
Report.
you click on this export to Excel, it will download that Excel, and then you can filter on that part easily, do your analysis and all that there.
I mean to say, actually, now there's a big list of standard reports. I just want to have a report writer only here on this here,
Right.
so that I can go further.
In this one, we don't have the filter of that such, but that's
So
what I'm
table
saying. When you
search.
extract it,
Yeah.
correct, extract it in an Excel, there you do the filtering, choose only the report writer, select which report you want, and you will get to know which category it is part of. Then you can just come here and filter only that category, and then you will be able to.
So you can extend.
Right. But
Yeah.
the ideal way of doing that is, suppose you got a requirement that you will have to create a report on, say, some journal. Right? So there, first you identify the business object. Say journal is the business object.
Okay.
Okay. Now you want to know how many reports are already there which are using this business object, right? So you go to the data sources. Right now it doesn't have. I think there are no reports on this, but there will be reports on journal lines for sure. Journal line also, I think it's a big business object. And then here you have reports, right? So you have these many reports already existing. So for example, say financial, let's take this one. This is the one, right? Standard report. It's a standard report, but you can copy it or you can directly run it. So if I run this, you have to give all these parameters and it takes time. But yes, if you want to say you got it, that this is the one which is kind of similar to my requirement, you click on this and then, oh, it ran. This is okay, it came back. Suppose this is the one, you go custom report copy, right? And then you give your name. Right now it is putting here copy, but once you click on OK, it will have all the fields which are already there on that part. And then you can modify it accordingly, right? It is not a simple, it is not an advanced report. It is a matrix report. So it's different. This kind of report cannot be used in integrations. But yes, from a reporting point of view, you can go through and modify. So it will give you a good starting point there.
So in
Yep.
integration, we use only
Advanced.
advanced reports.
Advanced report is the only report type of report which is used for integrations and can be used. Don't know about future with Workday comes up with new features and all that. They might enable other reports, but as of now, last 10 years, it's only the advanced report.
So, I mean, is there an integration requirement where the drill down reports and all?
No, we cannot because it's very difficult to send that kind of data. So what we normally do is, if say there is some drill down and all those, we break it down into multiple advanced reports
I see.
and then send all that data. So the other tool, like say for example, we are integrating with, uh, like what is that system? Any system which is used for reporting, BI reporting, right?
Oh, okay.
If you have some system called Power BI and all those stuff, there you send your data using multiple reports, and then that system will consume the data and put it on their dashboard as needed, using whatever, merging them together and all that. So that's how it is done.
Okay. So basically, you are sending table data. That's it.
Right. We are sending it all the data that they need.
Flat.
If it's part of different business objects, cannot be combined into one report, then we create separate reports and give them that data, and they can do the merging together on their end.
Makes sense. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Nice. So then now let's see another one, which is the most common, is extract single instance and extract multi-instance. Okay, let's start with this extract single instance. So then first let's run our report and see here, do we have anything which has multiple values? No, I think there was another report which had. No, this one also doesn't. But let me explain you the concept. Extract single instance is this. So suppose there is an employee and then there is a field called dependent, right? And wait, let me see if I edit it and remove the filters. Let's see how much data it gives. Okay, so you have say location types here, right? You have multiple coming up, right? Local office training center. Now you want only the first occurrence of this, right? First occurrence meaning whatever is the first should come up. I want to see what is the name of that field. It is location type, right? So where is this? Source field. Source field is location type. This locations, locations, then all locations. Oh, there are few which has dependents. Is fine. Let's take this part. For this one, this particular employee, there are two dependents, right? Now, say we want to fetch only one dependent, right? And then let me see what is this one. Control C. Okay, this is the employee, and if you want to see her dependents, you go to actions and then benefits. Benefits and view dependents. Right. So now if you see, this one has a child and then you have a spouse. Right. Now the requirement is to fetch only the child. Okay. So there is this field called relationship which says child or spouse. Right. And this is our report. Now I will come to my calculated field dependence. Now it's asking condition. So I have to give a condition here. And let's see if there is already an existing condition. Dependent relationship is child, right? So if you see, this is a Workday delivered calculated field, which says dependent relationship is child. And I select that. And similar to that, you have dependent relationship is spouse. Sort field. Now there can be multiple childs, right? So it is asking you for any sort field, like say I want age, right? Now the requirement is I want to extract the youngest child, right? Right now, this particular employee has only one child. Suppose there is another child, which is also of say 24 years. So, or say 34 years. Now the youngest one is this Juan Carlos. So for this, what I'll do is first I have put a condition, dependent is a child, then I put it as age, then I put the direction as ascending with descending, and I'm saying pick the first occurrence, right? So it will, what it will do is out of the multiple dependents, it will extract the single instance using this condition and this sorting. So if I click on OK now and then copy this field, use it in my report next to dependents, then we will be able to see. Done. Okay, and done. I think it'll take 2 more minutes and then we'll close for the day. So now if you see here, now it is giving me just a single instance, right? Juan Carlos, which was the youngest child, right? It had only one child, but yes, this one. Now, similar to that, there is another calculated field type. So this one was single instance. Now we have another one, which is extract multi-instance, right? I'll choose worker. Now here, again, I want a subset. Source field is dependent. And I can put a condition. Now, if the condition is met, it will return all those instances. For example, this particular employee can have 5 dependents. Out of those 5, I want only the dependents which are childs. There can be 2 or 3 or 1, right? So I can put the similar condition, which is that relation. So I can choose whether it's spouse, DP, dependent, or what, child. Click on OK, and then done. And if you use that field here, now it will give you, right now in this case, it will give 1. But yes, if it is, there are employees which have multiple childs, it will give you that. CF underscore test underscore 9. Okay, run. See, let's say not equal to flag. Yep. Right now there is only one employee, but yes, you can try this field out and it will give you all that. Multiple instance, single instance, and right. I think That is all the type that are most commonly used. Other ones which are like date difference, date constant, and all those stuff, you can try. It's pretty simple, straightforward. And the guide which I will share will help you in all those. But most focus which you have to put on is when you try, true false is one which you should know. You should be quick in creating that. You should be quick in creating a lookup related value, which is called LRV in short form, right? Bringing in the field from other business object to the main business object, then evaluate expression, and then sometimes ESI and EMI, extract single instance and extract multi-instance. These are the most commonly used. Other ones like text constant and all those are fairly simple. So you know, you have to just put and give anything there. Substring, concatenate text, date constant, date format, all that we have seen. Yep. So this is the type, the main thing about the calculated field. Okay then. Thank you guys. Have a good rest of the day and happy work day.